Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Seek First to Understand, SFTU. We're glad you're here. Today, I'm going to talk with my friend Leslie, and we're gonna cover some deep stuff. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome back, Leslie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm born and raised in Wiley. I am married to my husband, Adam.
You were born in Wiley, like at the old hospital.
No.
Okay.
But I think that's just what you say,
Were you
right?
born at home?
Born and raised. No.
Okay.
It's absolutely not. I think I was born in Dallas.
Okay, but then
Maybe
like
Plano. Now
brought
that you're
back
asking
home
that, I'm
to
not sure.
Wiley.
Yeah. As a baby,
Okay.
I grew up in Wiley.
Okay.
Graduated from Wiley, so that's just where I've been all of my life. Went away to college, went to Texas Tech in Lubbock. That's actually where I met my husband, Adam. We have been together since 2000, which sounds crazy to say that's been so long. Met him there.
For reference, we graduated high school in '99.
Yeah.
And you had a serious boyfriend in high school and then went to college. That didn't work out and met Adam. And to this day, your wedding is the only wedding I've ever cried at.
I know. Even not your own?
Nah, I knew what I was doing. Like your wedding, like I feel like I knew you and Adam. And so it was like, oh, I love both of them. And I love that they're getting married. And that's exciting. So,
and we were so young.
And you and I met in 6th grade. I moved to Wiley in 6th grade.
7th. Okay.
So maybe that summer going into, I feel like we met through softball.
Yep.
So we started playing softball together. Leslie was the pitcher and I was the catcher. So that's how I was thinking, how long I've known you. So probably, 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. So you met Adam at Tech.
Yep.
But neither one of you graduated from Tech.
So Adam likes to say that he gave his money to Tech.
I believe
He did
that.
not go to classes. If his mom watches this, hopefully she's already aware of that because he just kind of wasted their money. But I would get up and go to class. And then after that, I would go to Adam's apartment, him and his roommate, Jason. That's still his best friend. He still lives in Lubbock. And they would be playing Tony Hawk and have been drinking most of the day. And I would have gone to class and they didn't. So, yeah, he did not graduate. School was not his thing.
But y'all met in a bar that you both worked at.
We both worked at a place called 50th Street Caboose in Lubbock.
Is that still there?
Yeah, it's still there. There's like 3 of them there, I think, now. So it's kind of like a Dave & Buster's, like a smaller version of Dave & Buster's, like restaurant, bar, and then a bunch of games, pool halls. So yeah, that's where we met. We both worked there.
Okay. And then when did you move back here?
Moved back here probably 2003.
Okay.
So I was pretty close to graduating.
Yeah, so what made you move back here? Like, why not finish there? And then, like, what was the catalyst for that?
I don't really know. I think it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I think for me, I wanted to be back closer to my family. And I think Adam and I were kind of we were both probably in a scene we didn't really need to be in, like partying. You know, we're very adamant that we don't want our kids working in the bar business because you just surround yourself with that and it's just a different lifestyle. You know, you work till 2 a.m. and then you have your night, right? So then you go out with your friends and your people that you work with. So you're up till 4 or 5 in the morning and then you go. I was going to class. Like I love school. I'm a big nerd in that way.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, I think, I don't know. Like I don't even remember. It was not like a big, wasn't like sit down and work it out. It was just like, I want to go back to Dallas. And I was like, okay, let's go. You know, like it was a very quick thing.
Were you already engaged or married when y'all moved back here?
So Adam and I started dating in September of 2000 and we were engaged within 6 months.
Okay. So you were engaged when you moved back here and then you got married here.
Mm-hmm. I graduated from Texas Women's, so my bachelor's is in psychology.
Okay.
I went to Texas Women's and then we got
Did
married.
you transfer here immediately? Did you have any gap in school or you're like,
No.
I transferred to TWU and kept going?
Yeah, no, I just transferred and just kept going.
Okay.
It only, I guess I would have graduated in 2004, so it didn't take me. I graduated high school in 1999, graduated in 2004, so it didn't, there wasn't.
And y'all got married in?
June of 2004.
Okay.
So I graduated in May and then we got married the next month.
Okay. And then your first child was born in?
2008.
Okay. And he's a senior and about to graduate, which makes me feel old. And again, fun side story.
Very old.
I remember when you had him and everybody went to the hospital. Everyone went to the hospital and you had pictures of every person who came like holding the baby. And I was like, no, thank you. So my picture, Adam's holding the baby and I'm just standing next to him like, that's a baby. Because I was not comfortable holding babies.
No, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, we had other friends that were having babies at that
Mm-hmm.
time. I just was nowhere near that part of life and was
Yeah.
so afraid I was going to drop a baby that I
You had
thought
never held a baby? Like you had never.
that's probably accurate.
That's so weird.
I'm just, we were in different places in life. So, okay. So you had,
Garrison in 2008 and then had Adeline in 2011.
and somewhere in there you went back to school.
Yeah, shortly. My plan had always been to go back to school for physical therapy. And then,
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
yeah. So when I went into college, it was pre-med. And then probably money made me be like, okay, that's a bad idea. Let's think of something else. So then it was physical therapy. And then, so after, or actually right before I graduated, I started working actually for the company I work for now called Home Instead. I was just an admin assistant. And then I was a scheduler, and then I was an office manager. So it kind of kept bumping up. And I just kind of felt like that I fit there, and I really liked it. And so I ended up going back to get my master's in business administration with a healthcare emphasis. And I got that in Texas Women's. I think I started back probably about 2007. So I had a baby and then was still getting my master's and then finished. Garrison was probably about a year old when I finished my master's.
I just applaud people that go, this is still something I want to do and I want to get that higher degree and I'm going to do it whether I'm having to be a wife and a mom and do all the things
I was
and work a
working
full-time job.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember you doing that and I'm like, that's so cool. Like, good for
Yeah.
you. I did not. I went to school and have my degree, but I have zero desire to, partially because I don't want to write a paper. If I could just take tests, I'd be fine. But I'm like, when someone tells me write a paper, I'm like, blah.
Yeah.
I put everything into AI now and go, make this sound better.
I would totally go back now for a doctorate degree if I had a reason to, and if money wasn't an issue, right? Like I said, I'm a nerd at heart. Like I love to learn. I'm excited for Garrison going to college. I keep telling him it's so fun. And he's like,
you're probably more excited for the learning than he is.
I really am. I'm probably gonna have to help him with his homework, but
And so Addie was born in what year?
2011.
Okay. And so you got your degree while they were babies.
Just Garrison. I already had when Garrison was a baby, probably about one. And Texas Women's, I don't know if every university is this way because that's my only experiences there. But they are geared towards working women, like working.
Because how much of it was done online versus in person?
A huge part of it was online.
Okay.
I think I had a class all the way in Parkland, which is weird that it's Texas Women's, but they had a classroom down there. So it was very geared towards your working. Like my capstone project was women that I'm still friends with that were all my age. We all had children about the same age. So it was really...
To give you a sense of community and other people going through what you are.
Yes.
That's awesome. Shout out to TWU.
Yeah.
Really cool. So on a heavier note,
Mm-hmm.
your mom was sick from the time you were little.
Yeah. The first time that she got sick, I was 7.
Okay. And tell us more about her illness.
So she had actually been sick literally her entire life. When my grandfather passed away recently, we were cleaning out his house and I found some stuff where she had actually had an extended stay as a child at Scottish Rite Hospital. I actually didn't know that, but there's notes where she was writing other children like little drawings and notes because that was their way of communicating, But yeah, she had been sick from the time she was little, and they didn't really in the 70s, the healthcare medical was way different than it is now. I don't think they ever really knew exactly what was wrong with her. I heard like rheumatoid arthritis. So like that is now considered an autoimmune disease. So that kind of all fits with all of her problems. But she was sick in and out of that time. And then healthy, I think, until I was 7. And then it was a very critical, very serious illness at that time. It was autoimmune hepatitis, which
I'm going to pause for just a second. So you were 7, but you have an older sister.
Amy's not is 2 years older than me, so she would have been 9.
You have a younger brother.
He's 5 years younger than me, so he would have been 2.
So he's little.
Yeah, he was a baby. So 2, 7, and 9. That was our ages.
Okay, and your mom had you guys pretty young.
Very young, yeah. She always used to say that she had us young because if she had waited to like a normal, proper age to have children, she probably wouldn't have had children because she would have been so sick, right? So she had my sister at 16. She was actually still in high school. Had me at 18 and then my brother at 23.
Okay. So when you were 7, she was 20-something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough to do the math, but so she was young.
She would have been 25. So she was 25 years old.
And sick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so she went into the hospital very, very critical, very sick. It took them a little bit of time to figure out what it was. Like I said, autoimmune hepatitis, which is not the hepatitis that you get from like needles or, other bad choices in life. Like she is an autoimmune disease. So her body just literally attacked her liver. Hepatitis or autoimmune hepatitis can be treatable, but hers had progressed to the point where she was in end stage liver disease or liver failure.
At 25.
At 25, yeah. And so she had to have a transplant. From what I understand, they didn't take us up to the hospital. Like they kept us completely away from that. I think my mom's best friend and my aunt kind of helped raise us at that time because my dad still had to work. And then he would be at the hospital clearly when he wasn't working. So,
But she got a transplant pretty quickly.
yeah, I don't know all the time frames, but yeah, I mean, she was on a ventilator, unconscious, like she was in really bad shape. And then she got a liver. They were able to figure out that it came from a 21-year-old that had died on a motorcycle.
Oh.
So I'm pretty against motorcycles, even though Garrison really wants one. So we kind of argue about that a little bit. But so she had a liver transplant, and then it was a very long process for her. Because she had been so sick, she had to go to rehab for a very long time. She had to relearn how to walk, how to talk. Like she had to relearn everything.
With 3 kids at home.
Yeah.
So do you remember her like coming home after that?
I don't remember anything about that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it makes you just wonder, like, does your brain just block that out?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much I remember from being 7 either. So was it because you were 7 or your brain just goes, I cannot?
There's not one memory. Like everything I know of that is from what I've been told.
So what do you remember about growing up? Right. Like, okay, so your mom's at home and then was she pretty healthy? I remember your mom from the softball fields.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I think after her transplant, and then the rehab stay and all that, like I said, I don't remember that, but I remember her being healthy,
Okay.
like once she came home from that, she was able to be involved in everything. I remember like she took a ton of medicines. Like she had one of those lunch boxes that zips up. That was like if we traveled
anti-rejection meds.
Yeah, it was all of her medicines. She took a lot of medications, but she's healthy. Like, I think when you say, what do you remember about childhood? I think softball is probably what I remember the most. And then sports in junior high and high school. And she was at everything that I did. So, she was able to thankfully live a pretty normal mom life after that for a while.
Then she got sick again.
Yeah, she got sick again my senior year in high school.
Okay.
She went, basically, they called it, she was in rejection. Like, so her body was rejecting the liver.
Again, I am nothing medical, but I'm like, after what, 15 something
it's
years, you're
pretty
like, that
crazy
seems
that
interesting.
I guess if I was 17, it would have been, I guess, 10 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it just started working again. Like,
Okay. Well, good.
because there was some talk around that time is, does she need a second transplant? Is that even an option? But she ended up, it started working again,
So when y'all moved back here, you and Adam moved back, mom's fine.
I mean, no, like from probably my senior year till the time she died in 2014, she was sick off and on every year.
Okay.
Like
Because when someone like that gets sick, it was something you and our body could handle.
Yeah.
It's just harder for them.
Yeah, she could. And so all of her illnesses were autoimmune related. So like, whereas if you and I get a basic cold, she can't fight that off. So she pretty much went into the hospital every year. And it was like a cold that went sepsis. She was on ventilators multiple times.
Again, memory's a crazy thing, but like, do I remember something at your wedding that she was determined to walk down the aisle? Am I making that up?
No, she did. She was pretty much, I wouldn't say wheelchair bound, but she used a wheelchair a lot. But I think she was pushed in a wheelchair.
Was she? Okay. I just remember, I feel like we had a conversation around it that you
I don't feel like she walked down. Maybe she did, but I guess that would have been before I was out there. So,
oh, that's true. You
like
weren't there when your mom came down the aisle.
The pictures I have, she's being pushed.
Oh, okay. Then maybe that's
down
right. Maybe
the
we just
aisle by
talked
her
about
best friend. Actually, my brother and her best friend was next to her.
So was she in the hospital when she passed, or was she home when she passed?
No, she was in a LTAC, a long-term care acute facility.
Okay. So you would just go visit. Like, how long had she been there?
That final stay, she was in the hospital and the rehab probably 6-7 weeks
Okay.
on a ventilator that whole time.
And she passed in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So both your kids got to meet her.
Mm-hmm. She helped raise both of my kids. She babysat them. Like, this is what's gonna make me sad.
It's okay.
Yeah. Let's
When they were little. Okay. Garrison's older than Addie. Does Garrison have better memories than Addie?
I guess so. Garrison would have been 6 when she passed, and Adam told me not to cry.
Okay, it's okay. We're humans.
Garrison would have been 6, and Addie was 3. Addie, I
Okay.
don't think has any memories
Yeah.
of my mom, but Garrison has a little bit.
Okay.
And actually, I'll tell a funny story to get my mind on focusing something
Perfect.
else. So, Garrison has awful teeth. Like, that kid has so many cavities, and I'm like, why are all of his teeth bad? And Adeline has never had a cavity. I'm like, I do the same thing with both my kids, right?
Right.
Well, it ended up Garrison 3 or 4 years back was like, well, Grandma and I used to sit around and eat lemon heads all day long. And I'm like, he would have been 3, 4, 5.
Yes, but that's a
and
memory
she
that
was
he has.
babysitting him, and he was eating lemon heads, and they probably just stuck to his teeth. That's just sugar stuck to his teeth all day long, you know?
I love it.
So that is a memory.
I
he
hate that
has.
for you to deal with, but it is a fun
Yeah,
memory
it's
that he
fine.
has
He's
with
got
his
all
grandma.
the cavities fixed. He's had a few teeth pulled. He's fine, right? But so he has memories like that of my
Yeah.
parents. He's very close to my mom and my dad. They helped. Adam and I had a schedule where most of the time the kids were either with Adam or me, and but they helped when needed. And that was what I was going to say that made me sad. That was the highlight of my mom's life. Being a grandma was like
Yeah.
her purpose.
Because y'all lived in Wiley and they lived in Wiley. So that was nice.
No, we didn't. We lived in Garland.
Okay, you
at
were in the
that
Garland
time.
house at that
Yeah.
time. Okay.
And then, because we moved to Wiley in 2011. So I guess once we had Addie, we were back in Wiley.
Yeah.
But like mostly when I would bring Garrison to them,
Yeah.
it was from Garland.
So my memories of your mom are at the ball field.
Yeah.
Always at the ball field,
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah.
And your grandpa
Mm-hmm.
was always at the ball field with her, which
Yep.
was her dad,
Yep.
right? So he came to everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Like he was that. My grandparents were not that involved.
Yeah.
So I just remember like he was just part of the family. He was always there. So a couple of years ago, and again, he lived in Wiley,
Mm-hmm.
and had always lived in the same house
Oh, yeah.
the whole
In
time.
the 70s, I think he bought that house in Wiley, and we just sold that about a year ago. Yeah. Same house.
And a couple of years ago, more than a couple, you'll know the math on this, but he got sick
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah, so he got sick in 2002, summer of 22, summer of 22. So just a couple years back. And he, I guess, would have been like 88 at that time.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah. And so up until that point, he was completely healthy. Like,
But like living on his own, still driving his truck, like doing all the things.
yeah, he did everything. Amy, my older sister, took him to his doctor's appointments, but
And
he didn't really see doctors. It was like maybe once a year type thing.
which is rare for someone 88. Like I feel
Yeah.
like my mom has a little lady that she takes to doctor's appointments kind of regularly,
Yeah.
and she's older, and it's like
Yeah.
lots of stuff. So that's impressive. I want to pause here too and say that you went into the healthcare world.
Mm-hmm.
Your sister also went into the healthcare
Mhm.
world. Consciously or subconsciously, do you think that had to do with your mom?
I think it probably had a little bit to do with it. Like, I can't tell you what made me go into healthcare or anything like that. Like, there was never even, I don't remember ever even thinking of another option, you know? I think,
But it wasn't something that you went, my mom was sick a lot growing up. I'd like to go into healthcare to help people. It was just kind of there.
no.
Which again, you and your sister, like you are healthcare on the admin business
Mhm.
side of things. Your sister's healthcare, like hands-on, was a nurse
She's
in a
a
hospital
nurse.
for a long
Mhm.
time.
Yep.
Okay. So your grandpa got sick. Did he have a fall? He just had a hospital. He ended
He
up in
just
the
had
hospital.
a hospital stay. I was actually trying to, it's so
And like
weird.
went kicking and screaming to the hospital?
Oh yeah, like well that was the second time. So the first time, actually I think it probably was both. It's so weird how your memory like just doesn't remember things properly, but so he was perfectly healthy, and then I actually called a 911 for him both times that he ended up going into the hospital. The first time he was just not acting right. I think he wouldn't get off the couch. So he only lived a couple miles from me,
Mhm.
and even before he lived with us, I would go over to his house 2 or 3 times a week just to visit and make him dinner. My sister did the same thing. She went over there probably more than me actually, but and
Was
I
that something y'all
think
discussed or just kind of happened?
no, it just kind of happened.
Okay.
Just yeah. Um
I think that's awesome because I think there's a lot of people that as grandparents get older or whatever, it just kind of becomes an afterthought.
yeah, I think so. It was never that way with our grandfather. Like probably 5 years before he moved in with me, I was checking on him on a regular basis.
But you grew up with him 2 miles away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was just a part of the family.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So sorry, you were checking on him and things were not right and you were like,
Yeah.
we're
And
gonna call an
I
ambulance.
think it was, and I feel like it was his kidneys and his heart were kind of not working properly. And so there was like, he was pretty sick. And then there was, they got whatever under control. And then he went to a rehab for a couple of weeks.
Okay, I remember
And
that.
then he went back home, in his own home. So lived on his own. And then I was checking on him like 2 days later. And he was very ill, very sick. And that's where you talk about the screaming and the kicking and whatever. Like he
was ill, but he was not too
he
sick
did
to
not
find.
he did not want to leave his house. Like I really and truthfully think he wanted to pass in his house and he was okay with passing away and that's what he wanted.
Do you think had you not gone and checked on him that he would have just passed away in that
He
home?
probably would have passed away within 24 hours, I think. And so I called 911. Actually, before that, I went outside and called my siblings, and I thought I knew he was dying, and I was, like, what do? We need to get hospice in here is kind of what I was thinking. And then we were like, okay, let's get him to the hospital, clearly. And then so the paramedics showed up. His vitals were very bad. I don't remember if they were high or low, but they were very bad. And they were like, but he was refusing to go to the hospital. And if you are in the right state of mind, you can refuse care, you can refuse treatment, you can refuse to go to the hospital. But he was a little bit confused. And so they asked me, is he confused? Is he not answering some of these questions correctly? And I said, yes. And they put a gurney under him and lifted him out of the house while he was cussing and screaming and very, very mad. So, and that was not his personality. Like he was the nicest guy. Like I was really lucky to have such a good grandfather. Like that was not his personality. Some people when they're elderly, they're very angry and mad. That was not him at all. So got back to the hospital. At that point, he had C. diff, which is a very bad intestinal virus. And he got that from either the hospital stay or the rehab. It's a very common thing in like nursing homes, stuff like that. So that was a very lengthy stay. And then back to rehab once they got everything cleared up. And then he was not independent at that point. And then insurance was done paying for the therapy that he got. And they wanted to send him home. And there was no way he could live on his own.
So tell me what that discussion looks like. And again, I tell you all the time that your husband's a saint, but I'm like, what does that conversation look like to go, hey, Adam, I want my grandpa to move in with me?
This kind of seems to be a common theme, I think, in my life. Like, there was no big conversation. Like, it was just what had to happen.
It was just understood.
When we bought our house, I'm sure you remember, was that like 2019, I think?
What I remember about closing on your homes was that was your mom's birthday.
Which is tomorrow.
Was
March
when you
28th. So wow, I guess we're right at when we bought our house. Yeah.
Because I remember setting the date and you were like, that's my mom's birthday. And I said, do you want to do a different day? And you were like, nope, I think that's really fitting that it falls on her birthday.
Yeah, for sure.
So
March
yes, I know
28th.
in the house that I helped you with, you have an extra room. Like you have an extra bedroom, but then you had a media room.
Yeah. So when we were buying that house, we were intentionally looking for a 1-story, and we were looking for 4-bedroom, 4-bath, which is pretty hard to find, I guess, on a 1-story in Wiley. Like, right? If you want to be in a very
People build
specific
up.
area.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember, I think it was Adam that said, your grandfather could have to move in with us at some point. And that was literally it. And then so we bought our house 2019. And then so when there was no other option. So he was pretty much wheelchair bound. He needed help transferring to the toilet, to the bed, like everything, right? He needed somebody to wait on him. The option would have been my house, my sister's house, or a nursing home. And
because your brother wasn't settled in a home at that point.
They are in a home. They're out in Greenville.
But he wasn't at that home and at that point.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was. He had a young baby. Like,
That's true.
You know.
So was there, because you said there wasn't really a conversation with Adam, it was just understood. Was there a conversation with your siblings to go, hey, I want,
No, I think.
everybody just kind of knew this is what's going to happen?
Yeah, it just kind of happened that way. And to be completely honest, like, he had been so healthy for so long. The plan was, come to my house. We'll do home health and physical therapy, and you'll get your strength back, and you'll go back home.
Because he always thought he was going home.
Yeah, he always thought he was going back home.
Did you have a conversation with your kids? Because again, moving someone into your home, that altered your life.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
There wasn't a conversation at that point with it really, because the goal was he would get back home.
Okay.
There was a conversation with our kids once we put him on hospice.
Okay.
So he came home to us with us and was very mad. Again, very, very angry that we were not letting him go home. And just angry, you know. And so we moved him in. We actually moved him into our media room, even though we have the 4th bedroom and 4th bathroom, because I felt like the media room gave him more space. You know, there's a couch in there, a love seat. We were able to put a bedside potty, you know, the hospital bed, all of that, where he wasn't crammed into a little room, right? So, and then brought him home, and then it was very, very quickly when we realized that home health wasn't the route we needed to go, that hospice was where we needed to go, because he was adamant, I am not going back to a hospital. I'm not going to go see doctors. Like, he was adamant. He was ready. He was ready, you know? So, and when we brought him home, he got sick. Like, within the first couple of days, he wasn't getting out of bed. He was sleeping a lot. And so, and then there was a conversation with my brother and my sister. I think I called them over to the house, and I was like, I think we need to go the hospice route, because.
What's interesting too is, because of what you do, and I would assume somewhat what Amy does as well, you have some knowledge of hospice.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, I know nothing like that. The word hospice makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
But like, it's end of life care, but for however long that lasts.
Typically, yeah. So you have to have like a diagnosis that you're not going to get better, right? It's not treatable. And then typically it's within, the person is going to pass away within a year.
Okay.
Is the definition, I guess. And I think.
But he did not.
No. I think people think hospice is bad. Like, people think of.
Oh no, I think those people are angels if they can do that.
Yeah, I mean that. But I hear a lot of, like, people think negative, right? Like, they're just gonna drug them up. They're not gonna help them, and it's totally different than that. Like, it's whatever time you have left, whether it's a week or 5 years. It's like comfort, right? And treating you so that you're not going back to the hospital for every little illness, and
so it's helping you to be comfortable in your home.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So very quickly we got him on. Ended up putting him on hospice, and he continued to decline, and then just got better. He got better, and he lived a significant amount of time very independent in my house.
Independent in your house, and
not completely independent,
right?
But
because at some point you guys said, we don't want to leave him alone here. So that became a thing, because your son is an amazing soccer player and plays travel soccer. You have a daughter that's active and plays volleyball. So I feel like there was also some family dynamic to go, hey guys, I still have 2 very active children.
Yeah.
And you have a husband that used to travel for work.
Yeah, he wasn't traveling anymore at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know he used to be gone for several weeks at a time. So that was good that Adam was home, but it's still like, we have to raise our family. And I feel like there were times that Amy would come in and watch him so that y'all could go do life things.
Yeah. So I think I'm so bad about timing for a lot. So there were just all these different stages in those 2 years that he lived with us. There were times where he didn't sleep at all throughout the night. We had all the gadgets. There was a time that he fell and was on the floor all night. And so I got a camera, a motion detector that I put under the bed. And then it was like a doorbell in my bedroom. So it'd wake me up in the middle of the night. It was loud. Like, we would jump out of bed. It was awful. But every time he got out of bed, it would wake me up. So then I would go check on him to make sure he safely got to the bathroom, or help him if he needed. And then he didn't sleep very well, so we had to get rid of that because it was waking us up 5-6 times a night. Like, he could just put his feet on the floor and it would wake me up. So then we got him a buzzer.
Okay.
And again, it was just something not motion detected, but he could buzz it, say, "Hey, I need something." And I guess if you get to be 90, like when you need something, you think it's important, no matter what time it is. He had this huge Texas Rangers cup, and he drank so much water, like it's crazy. But at 3 a.m., if he needed water, he would buzz us, and he just needed water, and it's like, could it wait till 7 a.m., whatever. But so, yeah, I couldn't have done any of that without Adam. There were periods where one of us would sleep in the other bedroom so that the other one could get sleep.
It almost weird comparison, but like having a baby.
Yeah,
Like we're gonna
100%.
take shifts,
Yes.
we're gonna figure this out.
Yes. And then where you were going with that is I still was trying to juggle my family and be active in my family. Thankfully, I was just working part-time, so I had the time to do all of that. But it got to a point where I did have to tell my sister, like, I can't do this anymore on my own. We either have to hire a caregiver, which is literally what the company I work for does.
Right.
Either have to hire a caregiver, or like you're going to need to come over and help, because she was a nurse, so she was working full time but 3 days a week. So she did come, start staying a couple of nights a week so that we could be off the clock, basically.
Yeah.
And then probably the last 6 months of his life, she pretty much lived with us full time, because she was having some of her own health problems. She had lost her job. And
Yeah, you had
then,
a full house for
yeah.
a
And
while.
so, but she was there to help. So
Yes.
that was nice.
Yeah. Again, going back and subconscious or otherwise, do you think because of losing your mom at a young age, that's why this was a no questions asked? He can move in with me. I'm not going to have him in a rehab where he.
I think maybe partly because of that. And then I think too, just because I was so close with him. And then a big part of that as well as my faith. Like the last probably 5 or 6 years, I've been really instilling in my kids that we're here to serve others. The
Mhm.
Bible says we're here to serve other
Mhm.
people. And so that was just another opportunity for me to just do what I feel like I was called to do. And then also to teach my children that.
Yeah, because I want to say cool, and that's probably not the best word to use, but I'm like, what a cool experience that your kids got to have those 2 years and see, honestly, the good, the bad, and the ugly
Yeah.
of the death
Yeah,
process.
for sure. I think the lessons that they were taught were invaluable.
Mhm.
They got closer with my grandfather. We did shield them from like the end of life, like the last 2 weeks. We shielded them from that a lot.
Mhm.
And then that's where kind of the conversations did come in once we put him on hospice. And Adam had that conversation with the kids. I don't think I could be a part of it. So he had that conversation. Here's what's happening. Here's,
Yeah.
he's going to pass away here. He's not going to be in a hospital. And then, like I said, he got so much better that then he became a huge part of our life for 2 years. And then at the end, when we knew the end was coming, Adam again had that conversation with the kids, because they would have been 16 and 13. So death is a hard concept for anybody, but
Anybody.
especially
Mhm.
children that can't wrap their brains around it. So, but I do think my kids learned so much from it. Like I had cameras in the house, and the parts where when he was okay to be left alone. I remember one time I had run an errand. I don't know where I was, but Addie had come home from school, and she instantly went into his room, like to see, like I could hear her talking to him, do you need some water? What are you watching? And she was like having a conversation with him, but checking on him.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't something I had to be like, hey, I'm
Go
not
check on
there.
grandpa. Like,
Go check on Papa. Like
Yeah.
it was just, she's also picking up on that caregiving instinct. And both of my kids, Garrison, my grandfather loved to sit outside with the pool. Garrison would just go out and have conversations with him. And
Yeah.
I think they learned a lot in that time.
I think that's awesome that you guys were able to do that. James and I have those conversations, right? Because as our parents get older, it's like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And do they have plans in place? And do we have space, a good space for them?
Mhm.
And because again, we've all had visitors come and stay. And by the time
Yeah.
you leave, you're like, oh my gosh, I just wanted my house back. Because
Yeah.
it changes the dynamic having anyone in your home.
Yeah.
But then especially somebody who does need care and is going to buzz you for things and all of that. And so I don't know if I've ever told you, but I think you're amazing for doing that. And
I
again, I have
appreciate
told
it.
you that I think Adam's awesome.
Yeah.
Because again, that's just a different dynamic to bring someone in your home. So
Yeah, and like I said, it was never a conversation we had, but at the same time, like I knew that Adam was 100% on board
Mhm.
with it, and he. I mean, I think I've said a couple times I couldn't have done it without him, but there were literally times he could see that I was stressed or whatever, and he'd be like, go sleep. I'm got it, and
Yeah.
there was still times that I went on girls trips and he had him for the whole
Mhm.
weekend and he didn't, he just,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably maybe wouldn't, a lot of men, I'm gonna be sexist for a minute, but don't have that caregiving, like, that compassionate side of that. And that was never an issue with us. Like he just stepped in and helped, and I'm sure he didn't love it, but he did
Yeah.
what he had to do. And
But that's where, again, his love for you and love for family is big enough to go, this is what I
yeah,
need to do for my
absolutely.
family, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
So anything else you want to share about that? Advice you would give to people who are kind of at that, like, should I bring this person home? What does it look like?
I don't know. I think if you have the ability to do that, the time and the space, it's a memory and just something that like there's nothing about that I regret. And I think had I put him in a nursing home, I would have had a lot of guilt and regret about that.
Because it's harder to go by and visit and stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
When they're in your home, you do
Yes.
get to
It
pop
was
in and
almost
sit.
for a
And,
while easier to have him living with me than having to run to his house and do things because
yes.
then I was away from my family. At least this way we integrated him into our family. And but at the same time, like
It
I
wasn't
don't
easy.
no, it was absolutely not easy. And I think that was what was so hard for me to realize is like I was surprised at how emotionally hard it really was. And, but like I said, if you can do it, great. I don't judge people that can't do that. That's definitely not a path that everybody can handle. And a lot of things took place for me to be able to do that with Adam and my sister. I was working part-time. We had the space. Like there's a lot of things that have to fit. But I don't take any of that for granted. I think you definitely, if you're in that situation, you definitely have to, caregiver burnout is a real thing. Like you definitely have to take care of your own mental well-being. But was just a stage of my life that I really feel blessed that I got to do that.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
We're going to totally lighten the mood now.
Yeah, mine's been kind of heavy, huh?
That's okay. Again, there's people out there dealing with heavy stuff, right? So we're going to open the gate. So tell me about a product, a company, or whatever. Product that you love.
Yeah, so mine right now is it's a hair treatment.
Okay.
It's called, it's a 10. And I will say, this is the first time I've used this one. There's one that's a pink lid that I think I like better.
What is it like? You put it on.
What
are we doing here?
Yeah, so you do your normal shampoo, conditioner. You get out of the shower, you towel dry your hair, and then you spray this over it. And it is supposed to, the things it says it does, strengthens your hair. It's a heat protector. It helps with UV protection, restores shine, helps promote hair color. Like there's just a lot of things it does.
And you feel like it works.
And yeah, I feel like it's made my hair really, really healthy.
Nice. Mine is, what do I do with it? Okay, so this is a
it.
weird one. Because at our age, we have friends our age, and some of them are going through perimenopause and all that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm there yet, but I have a neighbor who's like the hot flashes and the sweating and sleep and all that. And so I went to her one day and I was like, do you feel like part of perimenopause is like you're just sweaty and stinky? And she was like, no, that's not something I'm dealing with. And I was like, okay, so it's just me.
It's just you.
But you see all the studies now about the products that are in your deodorant. So I tried the ones that don't have the bad stuff, right? So I tried some different ones and was just like, I'm wet and I stink. And like I was applying deodorant a couple times a day. So finally I tried the Carpe.
Okay.
And I love it. And it's weird because it says it's a underarm lotion. Either way, they changed the packaging too. And now it's orange, which I don't love. But I had to check too and goes, this is the same one. But I love this. Like I don't sweat anymore. I don't stink. Like there were days I could just smell myself. And I would work out or whatever and be like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. And so I started using this. And weirdly enough too, it tells you apply before bed. I don't do that. I just put it on in the morning like I normally would, but I'm like, it is interesting. So this has worked for me.
Are you supposed to use it instead of deodorant?
It says antiperspirant underarm lotion.
Okay.
But either way, I bought it from the ads that kept popping up, and this seems to be the only one that works for me.
I never even heard of it.
Oh, well, when you start stinking, give it a try. So anyway, thank you for coming on and discussing heavy stuff. Maybe we'll have you back and talk about reality TV or something much lighter. I don't know. That would be fun. So anyway, thanks again for listening, and we hope you have a great day.